Solaris, Solaris. It makes you see things that aren't really there, or maybe they actually are. Hello there, Nate Jackson, Criterion Collection reviewer guy of all sorts and places and people and space and space and space. Number 164, Andrei Tarkovsky's Solaris. Yet another friggin' long movie by this guy, a too long damn movie with Russian subtitles. Not as boring as Andrei Rublev, but, oh lord, and not as long as Andrei Rublev, but I think Andrei Rublev was actually over, like, 3 hours and 5 minutes, I think. How do I remember that? No, that was Redbeard was 3 hours and 5 minutes. Anyway, but this, I don't think this was as long as Andrei Rublev, so that's the point. Anyway, but it's long enough that it needed a second disc of interviews, which went on for way too long. It was over almost 2 hours of interviews, which was just, oh god. But anyway, 169 minutes, 1972, color and black and white. Just kind of changes between the two. Apparently, the Blu-ray edition fixes some of the black and white scenes. I think some of the film scenes were like supposed to be in color, but I think at the time they weren't found. Like the masters were lost or something like that, and so like I guess some of the coloring was fixed on the Blu-ray. That's what I read. Anyway, so but let's talk about the story. So it's about a guy. He's a cosmonaut and psychologist. His name's Ken Kelvin, and he's like at this lake with his family, and he's about to go on this trip into this on the space station to go visit this ocean named Solaris, and he he watches these films from this one scientist who had been up there, and apparently he saw this like really big ass baby, like this really like, it says like 4 meters, I think. So I think that's like, you know, well over like 6 or 7 foot, like as tall as me, probably, maybe probably even taller. But like it's like, but when they show the footage, the film, you just see the ocean, you just see the film, and so they dismiss it as a hallucination. But yeah, but he still like holds true to that statement. So anyway, so the scientist tells him that. Kelvin goes up, and he noticed that the whole place is in shambles. There were 3 scientists working there. One of them killed himself. The other 2 don't want to talk to him, and so yeah, he's trying to struggle to like keep his sanity up there. But anyway, all the shit doesn't really hit the fan until he goes to sleep one night, and he wakes up and he sees this woman sitting at the foot of his bed, and he recognizes it as his wife Hari, who had killed herself some years ago. And so she doesn't realize that she had killed herself. She thinks she's alive right there then and there. And so he's freaked out. He knows the truth. So he puts her in this escape pod, and she dashes off, and he gets burned in the process. So the scientist, you know, treats his wounds and all that. And he's like, you know, he's explained, the scientist explained to him that apparently it's like they read, Solaris is like this mind-reading ocean that like creates people from memory or something like that, or like neuroses or something. And so, and I guess that, you know, he believes him because eventually she comes back again and again, and like she keeps dying off and coming back, and like she, at one point she like goes into this, like I think the bathroom, and she gets trapped in the metal door, and she bursts through the metal door and cuts herself, like huge gash in her arm. And when Kelvin goes to heal it, by the time he gets back, like her wound is gone. It's already healed. All he has to do is wash off the blood. And so, yeah, and so she realizes what's going on, and she eventually realizes that she has to go, and I think she ends up killing herself, or like asking the doctors to perform this surgery on, or not a surgery, but like a mental surgery on Kelvin's brain so that she can disappear and all that. And like they discussed it before, but Kelvin doesn't necessarily want to do it because he misses his wife, I think, and all that. So anyway, so at some point, it's just, I think there are just two scientists are talking to each other, and he makes this decision as to whether or not to go back to Earth or to live on the space station or on Solaris. With dealing with Solaris and all these, he could go back to his real life, or he could like stay in this state of like delusions of grandeur and all that. And so anyway, at the end, he ends up going back to Earth, and he's like, we're back at the lake, and he goes to his house, and he sees his dog and all that, and he sees his father in the house, but he notices that it's raining inside the house, and his father doesn't notice this. But his father sees him, and so they go out and they hug, and the camera pulls back, and it shows the house, shows the house in the fog. This shows the house on the island in the middle of Solaris. Spoiler alert! He stayed in the delusions, and I think it is also mentioned that his father was near his death. Kelvin's father was near dying, and so there was a good chance that he wouldn't be there when he came back. So he's probably thinking of him, and yeah, so I guess he just decided to stay on Solaris, and yeah, I'm assuming that's what the movie means. And there's a whole lot of philosophical discussion about suffering and love and all that, and guilt and all this kind of stuff. It's really just an eye-opener. So yeah, it's a lot more interesting than the historically driven Andrei Rublev, So yeah, the science fiction aspect is really cool too, and the sound effects and the stark soundtrack. Just a little bit of Bach thrown in there. So yeah, it's not bad. It's really long. It's very cold. It's very, the scenes where there is no dialogue could have been cut down a little bit. There's a lot of staring, a lot of just blanks, expressions on people's faces and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that could have cut it down to at least like a little over 2 hours. Cut out at least a half hour of the movie and still made it really enjoyable. So because of that, I'll give it it's really long. Some of the aspects are pretty confusing too. I'm gonna give it a B-. I'll give it a B-. It's not horrible, but it's really friggin' long, and yeah, but at the same time, it's still better than Andrei Rublev. So if you want to see a Tarkovsky film, check this one out. I'm not sure if there actually are any others in the Criterion. I think there's one called Stalker, which might be. They discussed one called Stalker, which might be in the Criterion. I'm not sure. I'm not going to look it up right now. I'm not going to take any of your time up and look it up right now. So anyway, that's it for this movie. Supplements. Oh god, all the supplements are on a second disc. There are 9 deleted scenes, all of which are deleted for a good reason at that. They're just basically there's like one of them is like an introductory text that showed at the beginning of the movie that they cut, and there's a little bit of like preparation when Kelvin goes into space. There's a little bit that they cut out that took a lot from 2001. But yeah, I guess maybe they cut that out because it just basically says he's going into space, and then he's basically on the space station, I think. Not a lot of like dramatic special effects there. And then there are the interviews. There are interviews with the actress Natalia Bondarchuk, who played Hari, Kelvin's wife, dead wife. And she talks about her relationship with Tarkovsky and working with him. Cinematographer Vadim Yuzov talks about the making of the film and shots and all that. The art director Mikhail Romadin, who talked about paintings that were used in the film. The composer Eduard Artemiev, who talks about the music and the composition and using Bach and the sound effects and how Tarkovsky wanted to make it really stark and all that. And yeah, and then there's a little 5-minute excerpt from a documentary. I think it's about Stanislaw Lem, who wrote the original novel Solaris. And I guess it talks a little bit about how Lem didn't really like the the movie as much as his own work, because Tarkovsky decided to just showcase the storyline discussing Kelvin's wife and all that. I guess there were more other layers to that film, to the book rather, but the film only shows Hari. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah, the interviews are really long, and just it's definitely very, very Criterion. That's all. I'll leave it at that. So if you like Criterion, if you like watching people talk in Russian, then here's the movie for you. Solaris, B-. Not horrible, but check it out if you like science fiction movies. It wasn't like I said. Watch this, Andrei Rublev. That's the best synopsis I can give. So anyway, tomorrow, that's it for today. But tomorrow, Man Bites Dog, featuring my brother Josh. He will be doing the review with me. I'm excited. He's seen this movie a couple times, and hopefully, he says it's really eerie and all that. And so I'm hoping that I do not get creeped out. 92. I thought this was in the 60s. That's weird. Anyway. So yeah, so we'll do that one tomorrow, and then Down by Law, like I said, more than likely I'm gonna wait and do this one till the first Sunday of April, and yeah, or there's a chance I might do this Wednesday morning, maybe, because my Wednesday opened up and I might have time before I go to work. Probably not, but we'll see how I feel. And then of course Monterey Pop, we'll be getting to that one next week. And then, of course, the other one's Trouble in Paradise, Contempt, and Pepe Le Moco. We got Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, Band of Outsiders, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas are all on their way. So we're making progress. We're over halfway through the season. We're making progress, and we will get this movies done by June. Sometime in June we'll be done. Should be done. And yeah, so that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Don't go to Solaris, because you will see things that you might not want to see, and it'll make you crazy, and it'll make you watch your dead wife cut herself on a metal door and drink liquid oxygen and all that stuff. So yeah, don't go to Solaris. And we will see you tomorrow with my brother Josh. We will see you tomorrow that's Down by Law. Man Bites Dog. This is the one we're going to do tomorrow. Man Bites Dog. And we'll see you then for Man Bites Dog. Until then, goodbye.